Martinez, candidate for Congressional District 13. Congressional District 13 is from North Fresno all the way up to Lathrop. We have a lot of stuff going on this weekend. We had a lot of stuff that has happened. We have had a few questions that were asked of us, but I would like to invite everybody to our new program. It's Waking Up California, and now we are on radio, so you can join us at any time. It is a broadcast radio. It is KPSF-DB radio. We will be on there starting last week. Actually, we started last week. We started airing. So now you can join us at any time of the day. It's a Cinecast radio through the internet, and the call symbols for it is KPSF-DB radio. Now you can watch or listen all of our shows on Waking Up California with Diego Martinez on the radio. We are also working on our Spanish station right now. Hopefully we'll be up and running every Sunday morning in Spanish in the Central Valley area. 42,000 listeners on there. So we are growing Waking Up California in English and in Spanish. I want to welcome everybody once again to Waking Up California with Diego Martinez, Congressional District 13. And we need your help. We need America's help to step up and help us win a congressional seat so we can make a difference in the United States and help California for a better future. There's a lot going on. I had a question this week. It has been asked before, and I didn't know which way to go, so I'm just going to lay it out here to the California people, to the American people. The bill is called H.R. 25. A lot of you guys may not have heard about this bill, but this bill is a congressional bill, so it has something to do with what we're doing right now. And the bill is to promote freedom of fairness by repealing the income tax and other taxes to eventually eliminate the IRS from the federal government, or eliminate the IRS, period. Now, the question is, are you for something like that, or are you against that? Because why? H.R. 25 would repeal. So there would be no more state income tax or income tax, period, wages, and there wouldn't be any IRS. It sure sounds good, right? We all think, hey, we don't have the IRS. We don't have taxes. H.R. 25, man. Here's the other side of it. Remember, it's nonpartisan. I lay it out, both good and bad on both sides. What happens to Social Security if we're not taxing anybody? What happens to our public school, our education? Here's a better one. Where does the money come to defend our land? No taxes sounds really well. And when somebody says, hey, I'm going to eliminate all the taxes, like Bill H.R. 25, it sounds really good. No more IRS, no more income tax. How do we keep up our roads? Well, we know it doesn't go by the gas tax, because the gas tax doesn't make sense when you want to go to full electric. Well, I guess that's where mile per driven is going to affect the people of California at that point. But let's go back and let's talk about H.R. 25. It's supposed to repeal and get rid of the IRS. It's supposed to get rid of regular taxes. Buenos días a todos ustedes. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Gino, how's it going, buddy? Everybody in Sacramento that's watching us right now, everybody around the world that's watching us, because we have actually gotten people from other countries that are actually watching what we are doing on this show, which has been great. We are going to keep moving what we're doing right now, the agenda, and we're going to be a bipartisan. Like I said, we are now on radio. KPSF-DB radio is now showing our program. We are live on them. Started last week, and we're going every week, so you can go back and re-listen to this program anytime that you want on the radio from the comfort of your own home. Talking about H.R. 25, repealing income tax, getting rid of the IRS. Sounds really good. How many programs are assistance of people who are dependent on our tax dollars to be able to live? Welfare. And everybody says, well, people on welfare should go to work. I agree with you. People on welfare, it should be a welfare to work program like it was in California back in the early 90s. That program got changed. They said it was unconstitutional. It's really not. If you're giving somebody money, they should be able to do something to get it. They should be going to school. They should be going to a trade school. They should do something to get that money. But there's people that can't work. Disability. Where's that come from? It actually comes from our income taxes or our disability taxes that we're paying. HR 25 sounds really good, but you have to break it down to a narrative of how we're going to pay for the programs that we have. How are we going to pay for education? How's the federal government going to give you any grants if they're not being paid taxes? Now, we have always heard that state tax, it should be eliminated. It should be one flat tax across when you buy something. Then everybody pays their fair share of tax no matter what they buy or what they do or how much they earn. I'm actually to agreeance with that. Put a solid state tax, but you can't get rid of the federal taxes because that is what maintains our country. That's what helps with our security. We talk about public safety. Well, where will the money come to protect our borders if there is no federal income tax, if there's no more taxes being paid to the federal government? If we go back in time, you look at kings and queens, they got their money or their royalties, not only from their bloodline, but from the people of that town paying increments of taxes and bringing things to the king and the queen. We remember that. They were taxed. Well, this is the same thing when we talk about the IRS and the federal taxes, just in a different format. But for our country, any country, to continue living forward and prospering, there's got to be income coming in. We have got to stop looking at this as a country and more as a business. America is a business, which we're going to get into that here in a few minutes and talk about the war that's going on in Ukraine and how it's affecting America and our business, or you can call it America Incorporated, because if a lot of you don't know, America is actually incorporated. So when you ask me about HR 25, and I got asked this question 4 times, and I've kind of danced around it and just really didn't give the person a solid answer because I wanted everybody who was watching, everybody who's listening to actually come and actually have an input. But you got to look at both sides of the playing field here. It's easy to say, oh, I don't want no more taxes. Quit taxing me. We save money. That sounds really good. The problem is this. How do you pay for all the services? Disability, Social Security, the federal money that's coming down for the homeless, water projects, road projects. There's got to be income somewhere coming in. And that's what bothers me about California. But we'll get into that a little bit later. All this stuff that we're talking about is the stuff that needs to get done, and it needs to get paid. We talk about education. We talk about school choice. We talk about money following the kids. Well, where's that money come from if there is no tax? So HR 25 sounds really good, but you got to break it down to actually make it make sense. And the idea is we're overtaxed. We all know that we are overtaxed, especially in the state of California. Lowering taxes makes more sense than HR 25, where you abolish income tax. Now, state by state can and should eliminate state taxes, but they should turn it around by a sales tax. And it should be across the board sales tax, not a average like you are right now. You buy this, they're taxing you this. You buy that, they're taxing you a little bit more. And it shouldn't be by county. It should be across the state of California. It should be the same sales tax across the board. If you live in Stanislaus County, your tax rate right now is 8.25. If you live up in Tuolumne County, your tax rate is 7.35. If you live in Los Angeles, your tax rate is 8.75, I believe. So when you look at this, there is a big mislead per county that you live on taxation. So if you want to talk about HR 25, we need to come back to a local level and figure out how to fix local taxes for it to make sense for the California people to actually be able to live, have more money in your pocket. Well, how do you do that? You can get rid of state tax, but you got to go into a sales tax that makes sense. So the rich still pay their share. There is no loophole here. If you buy $1 million house, you got to pay taxes on $1 million. If you buy a car that's $100,000, you pay taxes on $100,000. If you buy a $10,000 car, you pay the same percentage across the board. So what that does is the people that are rich, corporations, people say the rich people always get away with tax breaks. That would eliminate a lot of the loopholes for their taxation, because guess what? If they bought $1 million house, they got to pay taxes on $1 million. If they bought a car that's $200,000, they have to pay taxes on $200,000. The same percentage that you would have to pay if you buy a $10 or $20 or $30,000 car. So if you did state taxes, it's just a crazy number out there. So don't hold me to it. It's just a simple example to be able to break it down. And simple numbers usually work better. 10% seems to be an easy number that we can work with. So if you bought a house for $1 million, 10% of that is $100,000. Now you got $100,000 worth of taxes you got to pay. If you buy a house that's $300,000, 10% of that is $30,000. So that'd be your taxes that you would have to pay. As we break down into taxes, you also got to look at property taxes. When should property taxes stop? To me, once you pay off your property or your house, your property taxes should stop at that moment. Why? Because at that moment, you own it. When you pay off your car, you're not paying taxes, you're paying registration, which is overrated here in California too. But your property taxes should end the day that the house gets paid off. If you wrote a check and you were fortunate enough to do that, you should pay taxes on that. Going to a flat tax in the state instead of state income tax would actually make more sense, where everybody actually pays their fair share of tax. Legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Because when we all go to the grocery store, we all go and buy products, we all go and buy stuff. So to eliminate HR 25 wouldn't make sense. The IRS, you need somebody to regulate what is going on. That doesn't mean that you eliminate the IRS. It just means that you monitor and see what they're doing. Federal income tax you still need to run our country. I hope that's a little breakdown. I encourage and ask for your comments underneath, and let us know how you feel about HR 25, which was a bill that was presented to Congress in 2021, and it talked about evaluating or getting rid of the IRS and income tax. Your thoughts and your opinions are more than welcome and are always read and answered on the next video. So that's what we have with HR 25. Let's talk a little bit about the war. California's role in the war, the United States' role in the war. Should we be at war? That is a controversy here. Some people believe that yes, we should be there and we should be defending another nation. Other people say no, we have no right to be there. I am looking for your opinions and your thoughts on what's going on with Ukraine. Now, I'm going to jump a little bit here, so bear with me. We're going to talk a little bit about Ukraine. We're going to talk a little bit about the war that's going on right now. How does that affect the American people? Does it affect us? Does it cause our taxes and our gas prices to go up? The answer to that is no. Let me say that again. The war is not causing our gas prices to go up. It's a perception. Okay, what is the perception here? Open up the XL pipeline? Make America self-sustain? Make America be able to be its own identity without counting or expecting other countries to support the American people? Would that make sense? It makes sense if you look at it on the right way. The war in Ukraine could force America to be self-sustained. Should we be there? We have both opinions. We have got to remember that us, American people, were built on wars. We're built on protecting other countries. But when you have a chief and commander who doesn't have a backbone and cannot and will not step up for the American people and protect us and make us look weak, that's when you have places like Russia, China attack smaller countries where they feel they can control. Well, from what I was told on that, is Putin is targeting biolabs. Do you think this is true? That's a good question. I heard a different story. He wants the Black Sea. He'll take Ukraine and then move on over to the Black Sea. Why would you take the Black Sea? Because there's more oil in the Black Sea than there's all around the world. It is the biggest oil pocket because Biden has allowed the world to control oil instead of America, and he shut down the XL pipeline. Whoever controls the oil that we're buying will essentially control the fuel and the power of the world. That is why Putin is actually going through Ukraine first, taking back Ukraine, moving on over to the Black Sea, controlling it. Numbers, power, oil, money. But why? Because America is too scared to say, you know what, enough is enough, and let's go ahead and open up the XL pipeline back up. Let's go ahead and keep drilling out of Alaska. Let's be self-sustained and not count on overseas countries to provide our energy. That is just way too easy. Donald Trump said it. America first, America products. We should be proud to buy or support a company that is said made in America. Yet we are looking for cheaper goods, yet we want to talk about labor laws in the United States, but we don't worry about labor laws in China because what? They don't affect us. We can buy produce products cheaper from China. They got labor from children, but we don't talk about that. But we'll rather spend our money where it counts the most. So we go and buy products from China where their labor laws don't make any sense. Yet in America, you cross the line of labor laws and you're getting sued. So it's okay to exploit other countries, just not ours. And that's why we're falling behind. Not because I believe in child labor, but I believe that we need to make it where America is first. We need to open up the XL pipeline. We need to keep drilling in America. California one time drilled enough oil to actually produce the whole United States with enough gasoline. Why are we not doing it? Why are our resources that we have here in America not being used? Why are we buying from China? Why are we buying from Russia? Why are we getting our oil from somewhere else? So the war has an effect. And I'm hoping it'll turn to a positive effect to where Americans say, hey, we need to stop dealing and stop working with other countries and getting their goods and actually come over here and drill our own oil, our own lithium battery supplements that we can do out of Nevada. We have got to get a president, a commander-in-chief, who talks about America first and believes in the American people and the labor of the American people. That's where we lost. We have a chief and commander who has bent the knee to other countries, has allowed another country to invade, has left our own military warfare, our equipment that we, the American people, have paid for in other countries so they can use it in their war. And it cost 13 Marines their lives. Everybody's afraid when you have a person like Donald Trump in office. Why? Because the man has a backbone. The man believes in America first. The man believes that we are here to protect our rights and our freedoms. And we, as Americans, have the right to make a better living in our own country with our own resources than other countries. Not only that, everybody was always scared. Donald Trump will start World War III. Was that a good or a bad scare? Because we didn't go to war with Donald Trump. There was no war. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump brought peace in a lot of the Middle East where there had never been peace. When we vote, we need to vote for who's good for our country, our state, our district, our assembly, our senators. We need to forget about party lines. We need to forget about their Twitter account. Because we were so upset with a Twitter that look what we did. And I say we, the American people. Because it happened. This guy got into office. I agree. Trump 2024. Or somebody like Trump that could actually come in here and think about America first. But before we go that far, we have the midterm elections coming up. It's time that we flip the House. Every seat counts. And I want everybody here to listen to what I got to say next. I was at a Women's Federation luncheon, and I want to thank Merced's Women's Federation for hosting their candidate forums the other day. And thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak and to able to rebuttal the questions and be there. This was the question asked. What do you feel about voter integrity? How do you feel that our votes count? Do our votes count? And I know now we're going to get filled in and we're going to call about fraud, election fraud, everything that you guys want to talk about. Go ahead and dump it in the inbox right now. Here's the catch. When we had a recall election, we have 22 million registered voters in the state of California. Only 11 million showed up to vote. Is that voter fraud? Or could it be one thing? We need to start working the polls. We need to start being poll counters. Yes, we know this. Here's a better one. Let's stop talking about voter fraud. Let's stop talking about our votes don't count. Let's actually go out there and say our votes and our voices will be heard, because not only we are going to vote, my neighbor's going to vote, their neighbor's going to vote, my cousin's going to vote, their cousin's going to vote. Why? Because every vote counts. You don't believe me? Look at your Senate races, your assembly races, where somebody wins. Congressman Garcia won by 380 votes in the Orange County area. Do you think every vote counted? Of course it does. The problem is this. Democrats did such a great job putting in our head that there's voter fraud. Your vote don't count. Why are you going to go out and vote? Don't vote. It doesn't count. Guess what we do? Oh, my vote don't count. I'm not going to go down and vote. And then we wonder why we lost. Even if you counted all the votes, the biggest problem is we did not come out in forces and we did not vote. You got half the population who voted, the other half didn't. I was told California is a Democratic state, and that's why we can't get our votes to count. Gino, I would like to tell you that you're right, but you're wrong. California is an American state. California is a California state with California people. Both parties have failed the California people and the American people. So what do? We go and have conversations. We talk. We actually educate and talk. Because Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, the Republicans, we are all fed up with what's going on here. We are all fed up with the high gas prices, the economy going to the toilet. We are fed up with what's going on in our country and in our state. So if you really believe it's a Democrat or Republican, that's a mistake. It's a California problem. It's an American problem. And it's time that in the midterms, we actually say, hey, let's go out and vote. Let's let our voices be heard. Do not sit at home and do not allow anybody to tell you that your vote doesn't count and sit at home and do not vote. We need to go out and we need to vote, because if we don't vote, then our votes really don't count. Nobody can stop our voices but ourselves. But the Democratic Party has done such a great job saying that your votes don't count, that you're lied to, that all the elections are rigged, that we just say, what? Why am I going to go out and vote? Why am I going to waste my time? Why? Because it's our American freedom and it's our right. It is our right. Use your right. Use your freedom. Use your liberty. Go out and vote. Get your friends to go out and vote. It might not be the most pleasant conversation, but have a conversation. Too many Republicans discouraged from voting. That's exactly why. That's what we're talking about, right? You want your vote to count? Go out and vote. Get your neighbors to go out and vote. Get your kids to go out and vote. It is time that we teach our kids the principles and the foundation of our integrity, of our livelihood, of our way of life, and stop letting the Democratic Party or their teachers or whoever tell them how life is. Stop telling your kids that their vote don't count. Why would you want to be a U.S. citizen? I became a U.S. citizen in 2008, so I earned the right to vote. I earned the right. It's a privilege to vote. Keep voting. Make it harder for the cheat. That's what we have to do. We have got not to only get ourselves out to vote, but we have got to get our friends, our families, our neighbors. It is a shame when I go knocking on doors every other day that we go knocking on doors. I don't vote. That's what I hear. I don't vote. I've never voted. And I ask them, why? Why don't you vote? And you know what they tell me? My vote don't count. I say, how do you know your vote don't count if you never voted? You know what they tell me? That's what we hear on the news. That's what we're hearing everywhere. Even whether they're Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter. The people are telling me we do not vote because our vote don't matter. It doesn't count. It doesn't affect us. America, every vote counts. Every decision your legislation does affects each and every single one of us. You don't believe me? Look at California. Look at us. They tricked us into voting for a higher tax gas because they were going to fix our roads. How many of your roads are fixed? Tell me, how many of our roads are fixed? So where's our tax dollars going? Now it's time that we get answers. We need answers from everybody who we elected into office. Next time you see your assembly person, say, hey, you voted no to lower 50%, 50 cents a gallon on gas. How come my road isn't fixed? Because I have the right to ask that, because every time I go to the pump, you're taking 50 more cents than what we really should. You're taking my money and you're not fixing my roads, but I'm paying your wages. You're getting a raise. We're starving here and you're making a killing on us. This has got to stop. We need accountability. We cannot wave the white flag. We cannot give up on voting, and we cannot give up asking our people in office why they refuse to vote, why they voted no on something that will benefit each and every single one of you. So if you think your vote doesn't count, ask your assemblymen where they voted. Ask your assemblymen where they voted for the gas tax. And go on my site, DiegoMartinezForCongress.com, Diego for Cali 2022, Diego Martinez for Congress Facebook, and I will show you which assemblymen voted yes, which assemblymen voted no, and which ones didn't even bother even voting. Why? Because they don't care about you. They don't respect us enough. All they care is that they get reelected. And if you're an assemblyman and you're running for Congress, you can forget it. Why? Because you haven't done a good job as an assemblyman. Why should we promote you to Congress? Here's a different one. Where were your assemblymen talking about this bill and this vote? How come none of us knew about it? Democrat or Republican? Because they want to do whatever they want behind closed doors and they don't want to be held accountable. Why aren't we holding these people that we pay, that are supposed to be our employees, accountable for what they do? If you go to work today and you break a dish, if you break a pipeline, if you break an equipment, if you do something bad at work, is your boss going to hold you accountable? Heck yeah, he is. He or she will hold you accountable. If you didn't turn in the right paperwork, you're going to be held accountable for your job. Yet why are we not holding our assemblymen, our congressmen, our senators accountable for what they are doing? They are destroying our way of living. They are destroying our lives. And we are standing idly by and saying, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. No, you need to get out and you need to vote. You need to make your voice be heard. We need to go touch doors and we need to encourage everybody to vote. And the next time you hear somebody say, my vote doesn't count, my voice doesn't matter, nobody cares what I got to say, go, did you vote? And they're going to say no. And then you go, you are exactly right. Because you didn't opinionate. You didn't say nothing. You let it go. It is time for you to get out. Go out and vote. Let your voices be heard, America. It is time that we take the House. It is time that we flip California. It is time that we put the right people, the conservative people that care about California and the United States back in office. Do not allow for Brandon to keep winning. Get the right people in Congress to start blocking some of these stupid bills. Put the right people in Congress to stop blocking us sending $14 million to Ukraine. They made $44 billion in tax revenue in America's taxpayers who are starving. We're suffering. We don't have jobs. We don't have education. We're sending another country $14 billion. Why didn't that money stay here? Why didn't it protect our borders? Why didn't it go into education? Why didn't it help the homeless? Why didn't it help our veterans who are coming back from war that these politicians are sending them to? Why are we sending money somewhere else when we need it here? When we earned the money, we made the money. Why are we paying for somebody else and yet we're starving? Ask yourself that next time you go to vote. Even if the person's been in office forever, what have they done for you? Because the reality is they have done absolutely nothing but line their pockets with more money. How the heck do you go into office making $150,000 a year and 10 years later you're a multimillionaire and you've been a politician? Because they don't care about us. So when you vote, make sure you do the right thing. Make sure you vote for the person who cares about you. And if you want to change what's going on in America, if you want to change what's going on in California, stop chasing. Stop chasing the person who's in office just because they're known. If they're known, you need to look at their record. You need to look at their voting record. Do you actually stand by them? We have an assemblyman who's running for Congress who also ran in the recall. Most of you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to put him out on blast. But he voted yes on mail-in ballots. And when we went and confronted him, when people asked him, he turned his back and ran away and wouldn't answer us. Yet you want me to promote you to a congressman? Why? Because you're a Republican? Because you might be the next best thing, or you might be better than a Democrat? What is wrong with us? We talk about it, we complain about it. Yet when it's time to do something about it, we vote the same people back into office. What is wrong with us? We are the problem. Each and every single one of us. Why? Because we actually don't want to go out. We don't want to meet candidates. We're tired of the political BS. We're tired. We are so tired of everything that's going on when it comes to political that we don't do enough homework to say, hey, that's a grassroots candidate that I actually like. That's a grassroots candidate that I can get behind and say, hey, I don't need Nancy Pelosi in office for the next 20 years. We actually have a candidate that can actually go out and actually do what they say. And if we don't like him, in 2 years, we get rid of him. Because that's what each and every single one of us should be thinking. When you're in Congress, it's a 2-year probation. And if you don't take it as a 2-year probation, you should. Because after 2 years, you shouldn't have a job if you didn't do a good job. They should get another candidate to replace your butt. Why? Because we want the best people. We want the people that have us in mind. But we don't have that. We have lost that. We have lost our ways. It's become the way of do as I say, not as I do. And we have got to get off of that. We have got to go back to the American people are your employer. The American people come before anybody else. Our security, our public safety, our education, our water rights. Why are we giving this away to foreign nations? Because that's exactly what we're doing when we're becoming independent. We take their rights, we take their power away. But when we become dependent on another country, we become dependent on somebody else's power source, that weakens a nation. We have a chance in our generation to not lose our freedom, not lose our constitutional values, not lose our rights. We, as Americans, are holding on by dear life right now to the basic freedoms that our ancestors have fought for. If you're like me and you're an immigrant, we are losing the freedoms that we sacrificed, that we have left our countries for. We are losing the freedoms. We are not even losing them. We're giving them away because we don't want to get involved, because our votes don't count, because my opinion doesn't matter, because what they're doing in Sacramento, what they're doing in Washington, D.C. doesn't affect me. Ladies and gentlemen, it affects each and every single one of us. Legal, illegal, immigrant, whatever you want to call yourself. Every decision that our legislation does affects each and every single one of us. Don't believe me? If you're in California, go to the grocery store today. There is no food. And if there is food, it's costing you 3-4 times. I made a joke the other day, and please do not take offense. I went to the gas station. That was the most expensive date I've had in a long time. I went inside, grabbed me something to eat, grabbed me a drink, came outside. $140 is what it cost me to fill up my truck. 16 gallons of fuel cost me $140, plus what I ate inside, $20 more. So I spent $160 in 10 seconds. Man, I felt violated. I wanted to go back in there and go like, can you take the food back, please? That's the nation that we're going. And we have allowed it. How is diesel, which is a raw material from gasoline, more expensive than gas? Why? Because we'll rather have it travel 40,000 miles in the ocean in a big tanker that pollutes more while it's getting unloaded than California does in a year, than to actually open up the XL pipeline, open up the Alaskan pipelines, open up California's drilling, and produce our own and be self-sustained, and actually become a world power again by controlling our energy, controlling our borders, and being able to sell our goods to other countries where they're dependent on us. Now we're dependent on them. It's really time to say, we need to take our country back. We need to take our state back. And we need to go back to saying American made and America first. The only way we're going to do this is by getting the right people in office and getting the wrong people out. It is time for each and every single one of us to actually look at the candidates on merit. There's that word. I don't like to use it. It's called merit. Pick the candidate on merit, not on money, not on name recognition, because anybody could be known. I'll ask you guys this. All of us watched the recall. People are known. Nobody knew who Travis Allen was till he ran for governor. We knew that he was an assemblyman, but not a lot of people knew who he was. Now he's a household name. How did that happen? People like you and me went out and campaigned for him. People like me and you went out and spread his name, liked and shared his message, and let other people know. Well, I need your help doing the same thing. I need you to like and share my videos. Tell your friends about Diego Martinez, who's running for Congress. Yes, I'm running for District 13, but I'm really running for the California people and the American people for a better future, because once we get into Congress, we can stop the bills that are going through. We can be a vote to stop the madness that's going on. We can help get the House back in a Republican setting where we have a stronger voice, where we can stop the madness, where we can actually start communicating with the other side, not selling out to the other side. It is a shame. I watch candidates every day turn their backs because of endorsements. I'm not worried about endorsements. I've been endorsed. I want to thank Stanislaus County Central Committee for their endorsement. I treasure it. I appreciate it. I appreciate their help. But what means more to me is Gino's endorsement, Lori's endorsement, David's endorsement, Sandy's endorsement, Brian's endorsement, Terry's endorsement. And what even means more than that to me is your vote. Endorsements are publicly made. Doesn't mean that that's how you're going to vote. Some people feel like they get bullied into endorsing somebody. Endorsements are great. They sound good. It's like a resume. But if they're not voting, if they're not getting people to vote for you, endorsements don't mean anything. And if you really want to get endorsed by a rhino, go ahead. That rhino will most likely not have a job next year. Let's stop worrying about endorsements, start worrying about the people of our state. Let's start worrying about the people of our district. When I say I am running in the 13th district, I am running for the 13th district. But I am running to help the American people. My door will always be open to everybody in every district, in every state, because I am a United States Congressman. And my job is to take care of the people of the United States first, before anybody else. It's talking about border security, making sure that we have jobs in America, and America comes first. It's about making sure that we don't send $14 billion to another country when we can send that money here to our veterans, to our homeless, to the people who are actually struggling to make a living, and help them get educated. We could have taken that $14 billion and invested it in education like trade schools across America and build America better, build America good, build American ability to be a superpower. But instead, we took the American people's money and we slap them in the face and send it to Ukraine. Yet when you walk outside your door today, how many homeless people are you seeing there? How are congressmen picked to go to Washington? We get elected. Congressman, it's just like me. I'm running for Congress. It's an election. It's up to the California people to go out, people of that district, to go out and vote for that congressman. Change. Make changes. That's how we get in there. I say this over and over again. I had a congressman call me after the recall was over and said, "Hey, can I get some of your money? Can I get your support? I want to work on water. I want to work on border security. I want to work on the homeless problem. I want. And I felt like saying, where the hell have you been for the last 20 years? You've been in Congress. You haven't fixed the homeless. You haven't fixed our water problem in California. You haven't cared about our border, but you'll go to Texas and look at our border. But now because the recall's over, where were you during the recall? Oh, you didn't want to get your hands dirty with the recall because just in case you might lose your job. But now you want my money. Now you want my support. Now you want my vote. I'm good. I'll find a new candidate. I will find somebody who I believe in should be in Congress, not you. Because if you weren't there for me, why am I there for you? And that's what's going on. California GOP is a great establishment. is a great organization, but why will they not get behind a grassroots candidate? Why will they not change the people who are sitting in office? Why are we so scared of losing a seat that we never had anyways? Because if they're a rhino, they're a Democrat. You don't have that seat. You might have the numbers, but they're not voting that way. Start looking at your grassroots candidates, from governor to assembly to Senate to Congress. We have a chance. Not a lot of people are talking about it. A United States Senate seat can flip. Can flip. But that's if we have had enough of having 2 Democrat senators for California. There's a lot of district congressmen and women. Do all of them go to Washington when voted in? Yes. Okay, so there is California Senate, and there's United States Senate. There is assemblymen. We all know about assemblymen, and the assembly is equal to a U.S. congressman. Now, Congress is divided in different sectors, so you might have 3 or 4 people running, Republicans running for the same Congress seat. You got to find which one you align best with and which one aligns best with you. Not so much who can fundraise the most money, because just because you have a lot of money in the bank doesn't mean you're spending it in the right places. Doesn't mean you're going out and touching doors. Doesn't mean that you're actually reaching out to people and people actually like you. But because we're Republicans, we're like, oh my God, that guy has $100,000 in the bank. We got to vote for him. That's a mistake. What? I will say that again. That's a mistake. Why? Because that's what we've been doing. And where has it gotten us? Absolutely nowhere. So stop worrying about what somebody has in the bank account. Start worrying about what their ideas are. Do they stand next to you? Do their values match your values? And if they don't, just because they have a lot of money in the bank, doesn't mean you got to send them to Washington. It means you got to send them packing and go spend their money making a living somewhere else. But we're sending people to Washington or an assembly because the most money that they raised. Oh my God, that person was able to raise money. Well, that person was raising money. The other guy was out there working, touching doors and talking to people. Yeah, they don't earn the Republican vote. They get votes from other parties because they actually went out and talked to people. But if we do our homework and stop worrying about what our party wants us to do and start actually looking at real candidates and looking at real details and looking at what they have, might surprise you who you vote for. Might surprise you that you have somebody out there who's actually thinking the same way you are, but just couldn't fundraise. Why? Because they were too busy knocking on doors. They were too busy actually getting involved. They were too busy actually going to events and talking to people. And yet your vote cost them not to win. That's how important our voting is. When these congressional districts, these assembly districts are won by 300, 200, 100 votes, 10 votes, your vote counts. Start thinking of it that way. Our votes count. And we, as Californians, as Americans, it is our duty. It is our obligation to go out and vote, because we do not have the right to complain if we do not vote. So when you want to talk about voter integrity, let's talk about just getting people to vote. Let's stop talking about fraud. Let's stop talking about stealing elections. Let's stop talking about our votes don't count. And let's put the positive and the honor and the respect of the right to be able to actually go out there and vote. Let's talk about that, because that's more important than anything. Let's let everybody know that your vote counts, and it counts today. It'll count tomorrow. Don't go complaining about gases. If you voted for a yes on the gas price, because now we're all paying it. Don't complain about the groceries, because if you didn't vote, you don't have the right to complain. Because you didn't vote, that law probably happened. If you didn't vote, that person got into office. And if you believe that somebody who's sitting in assembly right now deserves to be in Congress, don't complain when we don't get the House. Don't complain when nothing changes, because we voted in the same people. Can you tell us in 1 minute answer, why would you like us to vote for you? 1 minute answer. All right, let's start the clock here. Why should you vote for Diego Martinez? Because we stand in the same ideologies. I'm a blue-collar worker, and I care about California. I care about America. I'm an immigrant, and a lot of you know that. Came to this country very young with no merit whatsoever. I want to be able to do and pay it forward what was done for me and what was paid forward for me from the late Ronald Reagan. I want everybody to know this. And I will fight for each and every single one of you, just like I have fought to be successful. I will listen. My door will always be open. The American dream is real, and it's at your reach. It's not given to you. It's called work. And if you can't go out and work, don't complain. But if you put your mind to anything, this is the land of the free. This is the land of opportunity. And you're talking to a person who has had $22 in the bank, $7 in the bank, no money in the bank, and has been able to build a business, be successful, train a lot of people, hire a lot of people. Why should you vote for me? Because I care. And I'm accessible. And I will never turn my back. One of my best attributes, accountability. And that's what we need. We need people with accountability to represent the California and the American people. And I am truly an American first candidate. American first. I'm about border security. I'm about an immigration reform program where it's fair across the board. I'm about helping our education and bringing trade schools back to our state of California and bringing jobs back to America. That's why. If you want a real person, vote for Diego Martinez for District 13. If you want status quo, keep voting for assemblymen. Keep voting for people in office. I would like everybody to join me this Sunday, March 27th, Broken Wheels in Oakdale. We're doing a pancake breakfast. There's going to be a lot of opportunity drawings going on. We're going to have a motorcycle ride afterwards. $20 donation, $10 for kids, 12 and under, 5 and under, eat for free. If you don't have a motorcycle, just come out and meet. Come out and talk to me. Come out and ask me the questions. That is how you're going to get to know your candidates. Invest a little bit of time. Time is free. Knowledge is power. The more you know about your candidates, the more power you'll have to make the right decision, and the more power us as Americans will have to make the right decision when we go out to vote. Not always about money. It's about the right person who wants to do the job right. When you go to a job interview, nobody asks you how much money you have in the bank. Politics is the only one that will hire you based on what you have in the bank, not based on your ability, your character. Think about that for a minute. Think about it every time you went to get a job. They ask you how much you have in the bank. And if you don't have enough in the bank, you can't get the job, even though you're more qualified than the guy with $1 million in the bank. Because that's what we're doing in politics. We're judging a man or a woman's character by how much money they have in the bank, not by the job they can do. Welcome to politics. Sunday, March 27th, we are going to be having a fundraiser. It's a pancake breakfast. We're going to be in Oakdale. I'll put the flyers here in a little bit underneath us so you guys can see where it's at. Broken Wheels starts at 8 in the morning to 10 in the morning. We're going to have breakfast, pancakes, eggs, some bacon, have a good time, some orange juice, a little bit of music, a lot of opportunity drawings there for you guys to be able to take home some different stuff. If you ride a motorcycle, afterwards, we're going to go for about a 60, 80 mile ride. You guys are more than welcome to come join us. We're going to end up at the LaGrange Saloon. If you don't want to ride or follow us, you can always meet us at the LaGrange Saloon, where we're going to disperse, have some lunch, keep moving on with our days. I want to thank everybody who has donated to my campaign, because your donations have gone a long ways. We have been able to get signs. We've got more signs coming. I ask, if you can, $20, $30, $100, $200, whatever you can donate, please go to the link on the comments or to DiegoMartinezForCongress.com, Diego for Cali 2022 on all my social medias. There's an dot on top. Please hit the link and please donate to my campaign, because for me to be able to keep doing this, I need your help. If you're ready to make a difference, please donate to the campaign. Donate, and I will always tell you where the money went. We have got to get some more flyers out. We have 10,000 postcards coming. They're going to be hitting our 5 districts here shortly. We're going to keep trying the postcard direct mail system. We need your help to be able to buy more postcards. They're roughly around a couple $1,000s. So every penny counts. Everything you can donate is highly appreciated. And please, If there's anything else you can do for me, is like and share my videos. Sunday, I will have yard signs out there. So if I haven't gotten to you yet and you need some yard signs, come on out. Come pick up your yard sign. Saturday, Let's Go Brandon. It's not my district. Let's Go Brandon rally in Pleasanton. I'm going to be out there. I get to be a guest speaker for a little bit. And after that, we are going to go back to work, back to campaigning, back to touching doors. So I would like everybody who's in the Pleasanton, Livermore, in the Bay Area, East Bay, come on out. Come join us on the Let's Go Brandon rally. Again, come meet me. Come talk to me. I'm going to have yard signs available. Even if you don't live in my district and you would like a sign, I am more than happy to get it out there to you, because guess what? Not everybody in my district stays in my district. We all travel. So the more signs, the more awareness that we get out there, the better we're going to be come Election Day, June 7th. I need your support. I need your support right now. Anybody, anything you can donate is highly appreciated, and it goes to the campaign. We got bumper stickers. So if you want some bumper stickers, we'll have them with us on Sunday. We have yard signs. We have little signs to go on your windows. Anything. We have literature that you can hand out. If anything, if you can just volunteer. We need volunteers in the 13th district. If you're out there and you can help me walk doors and knock on doors, if you could go and help me put out yard signs, if you could just share and like my video, that is awesome. If you can't do any of that and you'd like to donate some money, please do. The link's on top of underneath my name. If not, the links will be down here in the comments here in a few minutes. We will have links for everybody to be able to donate a little bit. $5, $10, $100, $200. We need your help. We have a long fight ahead of us, and we are here to fight. And we are going to fight, and we're going to stay in this till the end. My name is Diego Martinez, and I am a congressional candidate for District 13. Now you can also hear my show on KPSF-DB radio every day. So come and tune in, whether you do it on our social media or on our radio station, where we have picked up a slot on KPSF DB Radio. Come and join us, Diego Martinez and Waking Up California. I will see you guys next week. I will see you guys on the road. If you're around Oakdale, come out and join us Sunday morning. Come out, have some pancakes, bring the kids, bring the family. It's going to be a family affair. If you have a motorcycle, come out and take a ride. So you want to know why you should vote for Diego Martinez? I'm just like you. I put on my jeans on one leg at a time every day. The blue-collar worker who wants to go to Washington and work for each and every single one of you. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll catch you guys next week on Waking Up California.